Hey everyone, how's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with another wonderful coronavirus unemployment update. This is week 11 of my awesome coronavirus unemployment saga. So, um, let's talk about it. What happened this week? Well, first, we're going to start with the procedurals because, my God, those were uh, very interesting, to put it mildly, this week. I did not get I It's been almost 2 weeks since I've received an unemployment payment, which is concerning, right? Nobody enjoys uncertainty, right? So I followed up with unemployment, I think on Tuesday originally, and asked them what was going on. They told me there were no problems with my 2020 claim, that everything should go through. They asked me a few questions, and that was that, right? So I was like, okay, everything should be fine. Oh, they said give it 24 to 48 more, 24 to 48 more hours for it to process. You should go through, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, fine. So, um, Friday rolled around, which was the 12th yesterday. Still nothing, right? So I'm like, well, that's not good. Let's try to figure out what's going on. So I called again yesterday, Friday, and I spoke to another person in unemployment. I guess they had a higher IQ than the first one I spoke to. And I asked them, hey, I'm just trying to check the status of this thing and figure out what's going on and why I haven't gotten any money yet. Because it's basically been 2 weeks since I filed my new claim for the 2020. And basically she informed me, she's like, well, the reason you haven't got your money is we were waiting on your former employer to reach out to us, and they haven't, and they have until the 14th to reach out to us. And I said, well, what happens if they don't reach out to you by the 14th? She's like, well, then we just proceed and basically start getting your money. And I'm like, okay, fine, that's fine. So um I can't say I'm shocked by this development because my former employer, even though I have a really great relationship with them, um, they're an absolute fucking mess when it comes to like HR and being timely about things and all that. They are kind of messy because a lot of their shit is based in India. So yeah, you already know. I've already talked about India before, and generally not in a positive light. So I'm not exactly shocked that if they reached out and maybe it was directed to something in India that's taken forever for them to, get some sort of an answer or not. So clearly the 14th is going to be tomorrow, Sunday. So they're obviously not going to hear back from my former employer. Um, so whatever, I will get my money. If I don't get my money by Tuesday of this coming week, I will, of course, reach out again and ask them what the hell is going on, and hopefully everything will process real soon, and I'll get some information over the next couple of days. But I am thankful that I managed to build up, that financial cushion. That way, I'm able to get through a few weeks without getting unemployment payments, and it really won't be a problem. But literally, no one likes uncertainty. I don't think it's very, because when you're used to getting any sort of payments on a certain interval and it stops, you start to get a little freaked out, like, oh, what am I gonna do, right? So, but I'm sure everything will be fine. I'm not super worried about it yet. But yeah, there is that anxiety. It creates, what's what I'm looking for. Extra anxiety, kind of unnecessary anxiety, but it is what it is. So there's all that. So what have I been up to this week? Well, as far as what I've been up to personally this week, I did make a little bit of progress on a few things YouTube related. I did manage to fix a problem, the technical issue with a Windows XP virtual machine. So I will be continuing my series on old operating systems for the 5 people who seem to enjoy it. I figure I started the series, I might as well finish it. I am doing something music related, finally, for a video. that I'm working on with another YouTube friend of mine. Hopefully that'll be entertaining. Uh, let's see. I've been exercising, of course, every day, which is great. And just generally trying to keep busy and enjoy myself as much as I can. Uh, Thirdly, I guess I will talk about my job hunt, right? What I've been up to as far as that goes. Well, um, actually, this week, a fairly significant development happened. I applied for a job back on either May 27th or 28th. It was for an organization that the last time around I was extremely interested in working for. Because I interviewed with this outfit in 2019 before my last job. It was with a hospital, right? And it just didn't happen last time, whatever. So basically, the same position came open again because they're a large organization and they have, there's a lot of people doing this particular job because it's a, support role. And with thousands of employees, you're going to have a lot of people doing support things. And so the job opened up again. I applied again, and I have done 2 interviews already with the hospital. Of course, they're phone/video interviews, but they went relatively okay. They weren't super long, but they went well. I mean, I keep progressing in the, you know, process, so they're obviously interested in me. I have a 3rd interview scheduled with them for Monday, so that's good. So things are moving in the right direction. I could be entirely wrong, but I have a feeling, just a feeling, and again, I could be entirely wrong, that I actually probably will get out of the situation in a few weeks or so. It just feels like with what's happening, just for me personally, the things are I will possibly be going back to work in a few weeks. Fingers crossed, right? The only thing that worries me, though, about that prospect is if I get 2 job offers from 2 organizations that I'm highly interested in, right? Because the bank is moving slower, I think, than the hospital is, right? So if I get the job offer at the bank, I know what the pay is going to be. I know because they told me last time what it would be when I interviewed the first time. They told me it would be around. They start me around 60 grand a year, which is decent. I'm certainly not going to complain about that sort of money, right? That's very uh, good pay. It's not shabby. I would call it mid-tier kind of IT pay. And I know they have very comprehensive and very good benefits. So to me, it's a very stable environment to work in, blah, blah, blah. So that is a very appealing package, right? But I know that the bank, if they were to offer me a job, um, I know they would be a lot closer to 6 figures. Heck, I might even hit like with them. I think if they were to quote offer me a job, they'd probably offer me somewhere between 80 and 90,000, maybe even up to 100K. So it's obvious which job I would go for at that point. The only issue with that is if I were to start working at the hospital and then say a week or 2 later the bank comes along and is like, hey, we want you, and I would hate to do that because the hospital is not the type of organization that I would want to burn a bridge with, right? um I wouldn't want, because I know that if I start working there and then a week or 2 later I leave, they're obviously not going to look at me again, right? So that's not something I would really want to have happen, because let's say I do get the job at the bank, and this is just me being paranoid because I've had extremely bad luck the last 4 years when it comes to jobs. I've had like 5 or 6 different jobs, and only twice did I leave those jobs voluntarily. The other 4 times, or 3 or 4 times I left, was not by my own choice, right? So I'm extremely paranoid. So I'm thinking, man, if I did get that job thing and it didn't work out for whatever reason, well, shit, then I'd be locking myself out at the hospital, and I really wouldn't want to do that. So, this could be a whole lot of nothing because I could get only one of the 2 job offers or neither one. I mean, they could both easily fail. So I could be working myself up over literally nothing. Who knows? Or, that could happen. So what my plan is if I do by some chance get a job offer from the hospital, I'm going to go shake the tree at the bank some and say, hey guys, I've got another job offer. Before I would start there, can you let me know where you're at in the process on making your decision for what you want to do? And maybe that would speed things along some so I wouldn't have to face such a bad scenario. But time would tell on that, of course. So that basically wraps this whole thing up for this week's wonderful status update of what's going on. So that's it. Of course, I will let you guys know what's happening next week. I do know one thing though. Tomorrow I am going to get to have a lot of fun because I'm going out with some friends of mine. It's Father's Day, so I'm just hanging out with some of my buddies. We're going to be going into the backwoods here in Indiana, which that should be a lot of fun. So, hey, good times, right? And thankfully, I don't have to take my flipping kids because my wife will have them. Hooray! So, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, live long and prosper. Keep on rocking.